Okay, so we'll do a few of these. This one is the isosceles situation because both radii are the same length. So both of those angles would be 55, and you can figure out what x would be from there. Same exact thing in number 10, except the 100 is at the top. So if that is x, then that is x, and you can figure it out from there. This one here is an inscribed angle. So if the rubber band is pulled back to the edge, and this is 80, you know what that will be. Same situation here, just a little bit wider. You have the big rubber band pulled back to the edge, so if this is 220, then what is that? On the other side, it's just backwards now. They're giving you the angle after it's been pulled back, so what was the original arc to begin with? Same thing here, except a much wider angle. If that angle is 115, what was the big giant arc to begin with before it was pulled back to be the inscribed angle? Looks like I already started this one. If that's a diameter, and it is because it goes through the center, then that's 80. That was given. That must be 100 because it has to be 180. Once you know that that's 100, the inscribed angle is pulled back. At that point, you don't need the 80. The relationship is between 100 and the x. Same idea here. You have a diameter. So what's remaining from the 180? And then pull that back to the edge. On page 14, again, similar situation as the last two. What is that, though, if this is 40? 40 came from a bigger arc of 80. You have half the circle right there. So what's that? Same idea here. If this is 60, then this giant arc here is double that. So what's remaining from the half circle? Number 19 starts to get maybe a little more complicated. Only because there's more lines and more things labeled. But if this is 30 and that's a radius, then that's a radius, right? We have an isosceles situation with two radii. So if that's 30, so is that. 30 and 30 is 60. That's a triangle. So what goes here? And then once you know that, you know what supplement goes there. Sort of the same idea here. Two radii, isosceles triangle. If that angle's x, so is that. If that's 40, then that must have been 140. Once you know that that is 140, you can figure out the other two angles. It's an isosceles triangle. 21 we did in class. 22 also has parallel lines. So if this is 40 and it's inscribed, then that must have been 80, right? Because it was pulled back like the rubber band. If this is alternate interior with this because of the parallel lines, then this is 80 as well. If this entire thing is 180, what's that? Some words this time. Oftentimes in the Regents you'll have a lot of words and you have to decipher what they're asking for. It gives you that this arc is 40 and it wants to know angle ACB. That's this one right here. Well, if that's 40, we know that the double half situation occurs there with the rubber band. So what is that angle right here? Number 24, what's the measure of angle ACB, which is this one again? Same idea. Pulled back to the edge. What's that angle? And that is the bottom of 14, which was the assignment. See you tomorrow.